Rất nhiều mỹ từ được dành để ca ngợi Erling Haaland, tiền đạo bóng đá hay nhất thế giới ở thời điểm hiện tại. Thậm chí Sky Sports đã từng đặt câu hỏi làm thế nào để có thể ngăn chặn Erling Haaland. Song, liệu rằng có quá sớm khi nói rằng Erling Haaland là tiền đạo đến từ hành tinh khác, khi hai tiền bối của anh là Cristiano Ronaldo và Lionel Messi vẫn tiếp tục thi đấu. Erling Haaland đang bay cao, thế nhưng anh sẽ ở đâu khi so với Cristiano Ronaldo và Lionel Messi? Để hiểu rõ hơn về vấn đề này, Zing có cuộc trao đổi với nhà báo Rick Jones đến từ Mirror, Anh.
Hi, I'm Rich Jones. I'm assistant sports editor online for the Mirror in the UK.
Xin chào, tôi là Khánh, Linh và đây là podcast của Zing News. Hello, Mr. Rich. First of all, I want to thank you for your time today. Talking about Haaland, I hope this will bring to audience some interesting comments from your perspective. As we know that Harry Kane and Erling Haaland are the two with the most talented strikers in the Premier League. Haaland completed a big money transfer to Manchester City to Borussia Dortmund in the summer transfer window, while Kane has been leading the line of Tottenham for the last few years. And this season, they have been playing very well. And in the world of football, is it hard to avoid the comparison between superstars?
Yeah, I think they're inevitably going to be compared a little bit, but I think they're quite different players. They're obviously both strikers. They both score a lot of goals, but Harry Kane, the last few years, you've seen how he drops deeper a lot. He gets on the ball a lot more, and he does everything for that Tottenham team when he sort of gets the ball, and he sets up a lot of their attacks. He sets up, Son Heung-min and other players, whereas Haaland's come in and he's just sort of a pure goal scorer. It's really interesting, actually. There's been a lot of games where he only touches the ball sort of 7 or 8 times in the game, but he scores sort of 3 goals, and he's very much a pure goal scorer. He knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, whereas, Harry Kane's become this great sort of all-round striker. But yeah, I think it's interesting. There'll always be some comparisons. I think there's going to be a lot of talk about the Golden Boot. They were the 2 favourites, but the way it's going so far, it looks like Haaland's going to run away with the Golden Boot. So yeah, I think especially with the age difference between them, I think everyone can see now that Haaland is sort of the next superstar in the Premier League, especially at the moment.
Stephen Bradley of Sam Rock Rogers joked that Haaland must have been made in a football factory because he is such a unique talent. Rovers bought in Mold this afternoon say that Haaland reminded him to the original Ronaldo when he first came on the scenes. He said that you can defend in the front, can defend behind him. He's too strong. He's natural wall shocker and is making world-class players look like kids, which is incredible, a special talent. But we still have Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, who are described as a player who comes to another planet.
I think Ronaldo is an interesting comparison because Messi is sort of the natural talent. He is amazing with the football at his feet. And Ronaldo in later years has turned into this sort of goal scoring machine. He just always scores. He can score a goal from anywhere. And I think that's sort of what Haaland is a little bit like. When he gets a chance, he takes it and he can sort of do everything. He's good on the ball. He's quick. He's powerful. He can shoot with his both feet. So I think, he maybe doesn't look as sort of pretty when he plays as someone like Lionel Messi, but I think the football, like he's built in a factory is a good phrase because he is just so efficient. Everything he does well, and he does what he has to do, and he scores goals, which is the most important thing in football, to put the ball in the net, and he does that all the time.
If there is one striker who can challenge Erling Haaland right now, it's but Kylian Mbappe, but their career paths are different. Haaland chose Manchester City, Kylian Mbappe chose PSG. Of course, the French strikers could go to Real Madrid this summer. So, who has a better chance to become the greatest striker in the world?
I probably, until this season, would have said Mbappe. And Mbappe is still an incredible player. But I just think the way Haaland has been so good in the Premier League is just incredible. I was one of the people that before the season, I thought maybe he would take a little bit of time to adjust to playing in England. And he's come in and he's just broken all records. He's scored 3 hat-tricks already. And, you know, the Premier League at the moment is so strong. There are a lot of good teams. And so for him to come in and be so good in the Premier League at this moment just makes me think that if he stays fit, he can just achieve anything. Obviously, Manchester City is a great team, which helps, but I just think that Haaland is going to score so many goals for Manchester City that, you know, I think he's the one now. If you had asked me 6 months ago, Mbappe or Haaland, I would have said Mbappe. But now I think I would say Haaland. So he's made me change my mind.
We are living in a modern technology. The booming of social media makes players become more famous. Mbappe played for France. Haaland played for Norway. You don't have to be a genius to realize that Mbappe has more advantage than Haaland if you put them in a combat to challenge the prize.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, for Haaland, that he's probably never going to be able to win a World Cup. Maybe, but Norway aren't in this World Cup. France, obviously, are always in the World Cup. They are very good, won the last one. So Mbappe has that advantage. But I think it's relative. So if Haaland can sort of make Norway a team that are qualifying for World Cups, and they have other good players, so like Martin Odegaard at Arsenal, people like that, they've got a good team at the moment. So if Haaland can sort of he's not probably going to win a tournament, but if he can get them into tournaments and he can still achieve things that Norway have maybe never done before. It's a little bit like, you know, Wales. Gareth Bale has sort of dragged Wales to the World Cup, to the European Championships, which is something that they've never done before. So I suppose that's what Haaland's challenge will be. But I think the World Cup this year is interesting because for Haaland and Man City, it will mean that when all these players are away playing in the World Cup, he'll be getting a rest. He'll have a few weeks off. He'll be able to sort of enjoy a month of rest. And then I think that's the worrying thing for all the other teams in the Premier League, is that, you know, Haaland will probably be fit and sharp at the when it comes to January.
This season, Haaland is considered as one of the biggest candidates of the Ballon d'Or. His performance is absolutely more outstanding than the rest. But the Norway national football team missed the World Cup 2022, and in case Manchester City of Haaland win the UEFA Champions League, otherwise PSG of Mbappe get the UEFA Champions League. So, who will win the Ballon d'Or?
It's interesting. Like you say, for the next Ballon d'Or next year, it will be all about the Champions League. Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain are probably the two favourite teams. I think Man City, I think this should be their year. They have such a strong team. Haaland is the piece that was missing. But then PSG have Mbappe, Neymar, Lionel Messi. So it would be great. It would be a great story if it gets to the later rounds and Manchester City and PSG play each other. I think it's impossible to say who will win the Ballon d'Or until we see what happens in the Champions League, because I think one of those two teams will probably win it or will get to the final. And, you know, it's those big games in Europe that make the Ballon d'Or sort of give you an advantage. So, you know, if Haaland scores a hat-trick in a Champions League semi-final and PSG get knocked out, then he would probably be the one that wins it. Or on the other side, if Mbappe is man of the match in a big Champions League game, then he would probably have the edge. But I think at the moment, I'd lean towards Haaland. I think what he's doing for Man City is incredible, and I think they will probably be the favourites for the Champions League. So if they can go all the way and win that for the first time, then yeah, probably Haaland will be the one to beat.
This football world is on the feet of Haaland and Mbappe, and this is a range of two talented strikers. Do you think they are replace Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi to become one of the next talented generation?
Yeah, I don't think anyone will ever replace Ronaldo and Messi, just the way that rivalry developed and the fact that, Ronaldo went to Real Madrid, there was Real Madrid and Barcelona, they were sort of directly against each other and they were both just so good for so long. I think it'll be hard to ever see anything like that again, but I think we will spend a lot of time talking about Mbappe and Haaland. And it will be, I think they will be rivals for many years, especially with scoring goals. At the moment, it's hard to see anyone that will compete with them and be on their level. So I think there'll only ever be one sort of Messi and Ronaldo. But it's going to be really interesting to see Mbappe and Haaland over the next 5-10 years and maybe more.
Finally, many famous strikers decided to go to Real Madrid or Barcelona to become the greatest player in the world. Ronaldo Nazario of Brazil, Cristiano Ronaldo of Portugal. And for Haaland, should he follow the footsteps of to Ronaldo?
Maybe one day, but I think for the time being, there's not really much reason for him to leave Manchester City. I think he'll be there for a few years yet. Obviously, he's only just started playing for them, and the Premier League is such a strong league. Manchester City is a great team with a great manager. He's surrounded by great players. He's paid very well there as well. So, I think maybe, in 5 or 6 years, if Manchester City keep winning the Premier League, keep winning, if by then they have won the Champions League, and if Haaland has won the Golden Boot, then, I think he's the sort of guy that likes a new challenge. Like he will want to play in different countries, and I think that's what's going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if one day he plays for Real Madrid or Barcelona or whoever the best team is at that point. But I think he'll stay at Man City for a few years and then he'll probably look at what's next in his career and what he wants to achieve.
Haaland got achievements in Germany and he comes to England. It seems that no clubs can stop him now. Haaland is absolutely a beast. I'm curious if he will have another success in Spain or Italy.
Yeah, I think his style is, it seems like he can score goals in any way. He scores so many goals like at the back post where he's in the right position and he finishes. But then when he played against Wolves a few weeks ago, my team, he scored a great goal where he sort of picked the ball up in these halfway in the half and he ran forward and finished from long range, in the bottom corner with his right foot. So I think I did wonder whether he would do well in the Premier League, but the fact that he scored so many for the Bundesliga and the Premier League, I just think I think he would just score goals wherever he goes, to be honest. I think if he plays in Spain or Italy, he will still score a huge number of goals. So, I think he's hard to stop.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the case of Erling Haaland is an unknown number, which will be discussed many times in the future. Thank you for your interesting opinions. Rõ ràng, những kỷ lục sinh ra thì để được phá vỡ. Và một điều không thể phủ nhận rằng là Cristiano Ronaldo và Lionel Messi đã làm được rất nhiều điều tuyệt vời trong quá khứ. Thế nhưng, Mbappe và Haaland hoàn toàn có thể xô đổ những kỷ lục mà hai tiền bối của họ đã tạo ra. Chỉ đơn giản bởi vì họ là những cầu thủ hay nhất thế giới ở thời điểm hiện tại.